Okay, so hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. I also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you'd like to get an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it put together live, send me a message today. Alright, so it's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah, you might be thinking, what the hell's going on with Tim? Is he still alive? Is he what the fuck's going on? Yeah, did Christine murder me and like freaking dump me in like a, I don't know, like some sort of like place that pigs eat all the remains or something? I don't know. But that's not the case. I am here. So I actually haven't been running any ads for ages, like months at this stage, and it's all due to the graphics card availability. I will be running ads again soon, so you'll end up seeing more of me again really soon. But for the last couple of months, the graphics card availability has been absolutely horrendous. 50 series has launched and is worse price performance than 40 series. So it's a terrible thing for the market right now. So unfortunately, I gotta put my business hat on, and when stuff like this happens, I can't justify spending money on marketing and stuff like that when all that's going to do is bring people into my inbox who are going to want something that I can't give them. Either they'll be shopping around to try to buy a graphics card on its own cheaper than what the major retailers are trying to sell it at, and I don't sell graphics cards on their own. Or yeah, it's people wanting something like this customer wanted, which was an RTX 5090, and just be unable to source the stock. So that's kind of where we're at right now. If you go to Umart or Scorptek's website and go and have a look at the graphics cards, go open up the list and see all the different models there and click on each one. Start at 5090 and make your way down to 4060 Ti. You will find basically nothing available. 5080, yes. 5070 Ti, yes. 5070, yes. No 5090s, no 4090s, no 4080 Supers. Couple of overpriced white 4070 Ti's I think I saw. Sorry, 4070 Ti Supers, no 4070 Ti's, there's no 4070 Supers. There's a few 4070s around, but like really overpriced, like $900 plus a card. And then 4060 Ti, yeah, that's all good. So yeah, it hasn't been good, but it looks like it is showing signs of getting better. It's just unfortunate that 50 series doesn't offer the price performance gains that we're all hoping for, like late last year. So yeah, that definitely kind of sucks. So getting on to this build. So this build's for a guy named Alex, and Alex has been a super awesome customer, super patient, and not given me any grief about not being able to source the 5090. In fact, when we did this PC and he purchased it, I intentionally did not include the RTX 5090 on his invoice, because I said, well, I don't know when I'm going to be able to get one, and I don't know the final pricing. And I told him back in mid-January that, look, once this drops, it's going to be, like at first, it's going to be really hard to find one. I told him, you get online and see what you can find. I'll get online, see what I can find, but it's going to be a timing thing. We're going to have to be in the right place at the right time and be ready to buy one. And unfortunately, that just hasn't happened over the last 2 months. If it were just after any 5090 we could, we probably would have been able to get one and get things moving. But Alex wants the ROG Astral model, and that's gonna be a tough one. So instead of making him wait a million years for his computer, I've decided to give him a loaner card. So this is an RTX 4080 here. So it's a white one. It's an Aorus one. It's a spare one that I have here, and we're going to be lending this one to Alex for the next couple of months, foreseeable future. I don't know. If Alex wants to buy the card off me, he can. We can work something out. It doesn't go with the rest of it. It is white and the rest of it's black. But hey, it's a free loaner graphics card. 4080 is still excellent performance. So, you know, it'll be the 5090 and all that, and that'll keep you future-proofed. I hate that term, but you'll be future-proofed for the foreseeable future with the RTX 5090 in there. So one other thing that's also gone wrong, so many things have gone wrong. This has been such a freaking process. When I was putting all this stuff together, I was meant to get one of these coolers, but the one that was supplied to me was a Lian Li one. It looks sort of similar in the box, but it's not actually the Hydro Shift 360 with the LCD screen on it. And I went to try to get one at Umart this afternoon, and they're out of stock. So what I'm gonna do, I'll probably just order one from PC Case Gear in Melbourne and get it shipped up here. Alex is fairly local to me, so on Thursdays I'm sort of near Browns Plains, so I'll be able to just I'll be able to make a time with you, and I can come to your place and install your new cooler. In the meantime, you're gonna get a Deepcool LS720. I'm gonna put that up for you today, so you don't have to wait any longer for another frickin' thing, because you already waited another week or so for this bad boy. So this is a USB 2 internal hub. Now the thing is, with these fans in particular, these fans here are the Unifan SL Wireless LCD fans. These fans have a little LCD screen there in the middle of the fan. Now with these ones, it's really important that there's a correct voltage going out to each of the USB 2 connections for all this. If not, you have all sorts of issues with the fans not communicating properly with the software and cutting in and out and all that. So we can't just use USB 2 internal splitter cables that turn like the one header on the motherboard into like two. We can't do that with these fans. If you go online, people have had all sorts of problems with that. So we got this bad boy here, and this will sort our lives out, because this turns one USB header on the motherboard into three, and so the board has two. So with this hub, we've got a total of four, and so we will need a total of three. One for the CPU and two for our fans. Basically, that's the way it will be set up. So yeah, lots of little things. But yeah, we'll get there at the end of the day. So this little unit here, this is worth about $40. There are some cheaper ones there for about $32 if you're interested in building something. You don't necessarily have to get this Thermaltake one here. There's one from NZXT that I've seen. There's one from Corsair. Have a look and see what you can find. But I would recommend, for anyone doing anything with Lian Li or Corsair fans and RGB, I would recommend getting one of these units. Even with Corsair generally is okay with the internal splitters, but like I say generally because sometimes it's kind of not. hang on, I've got one of these that I'm talking about. So this is the kind of thing that you'd normally use if you wanted to turn one USB header into multiples here. So we got the one down here, and then we've got some other ones up here. So this would turn one into three. Seems pretty straightforward, but it just won't work with these fans. Even with just ordinary Lian Li uni fans, it's very unstable, and you restart your computer and then they work, and then you turn them off, and then one group of fans won't work properly, and you restart it and reset it, and then they work for a little bit. Big pain in the ass. It shouldn't be so complicated, but the issue is the amount of power that that they draw individually. You don't have the correct voltage coming out of this first header to sort of to properly feed these other cables here. So that's where the issue that people are running into with these sort of cables. I mean, Lian Li were sort of not this exact one that we've got here, but Lian Li have been giving them out with some of their stuff, but it hasn't been hugely successful. So, and yeah, good luck trying to find a motherboard that's got 3 USB internal headers. There's another alternative. You could potentially, if you've got 2 USB 3 headers, you might be able to get a cable that goes from a USB 3 to a USB 2 male header. So you might be able to do that, but yeah, like I said, you know, it's probably easier to just get one of these bad boys right here. Okay, so I've rambled enough now, so let's just get on to the build. We'll go through all the parts here and we'll put it all together. So we've got a Ryzen 7 9800X3D 8-core 16-thread CPU. Hang on, I'll go through the stuff and I'll respond. Oh no! Oh no! It landed on the cat! Oh man. We've got a heap of storage. Check this out. We've got the Crucial T700, which is the second fastest SSD in the world right now. There's a Crucial T705 that's just slightly faster than this, but honestly, it makes absolute sweet fuck all difference. We have 2 4TB Crucial P3 Plus Gen 4 NVMe SSDs. So all Crucial SSDs, that's really good. These Crucial SSDs, they're every bit as good as Samsung SSDs, and some of them are even faster, like this T700. Samsung still doesn't have one that's quite as fast as that, and Crucial have held that crown for years. The only reason why Samsung drives are so expensive is because consumers know the Samsung brand more than the Crucial brand. So our memory here, so we've got a kit of Clev Cras V RGB RAM, 6000 MHz CL30 memory. So this stuff is top of the line DDR5 memory. These Clev DIMMs are really nice. I really like them. I've only used them a couple of times, but I'm a big fan of these. So we've gone through our graphics card, our temporary graphics card, and our temporary cooler. We've talked about our little internal hub here. Our fans. So this is our fan configuration. So obviously they're all the Lian Li Unifan wireless LCD ones. So we've got a total of 10 fans. So 6 of them are normal. So when I say normal, they are pulling air from front to back, and so they're going to go. 3 of them are going to go on the radiator. 3 of them are going to go on the bottom. No, sorry, on the side, and then on the bottom and on the back. Oh, sorry, I'm getting this mixed up. Sorry.
What are you even talking about?
The reverse fans. No. That is the correct configuration. The 3 reverse fans go on the bottom. That's our primary cold air intakes coming in from the bottom of the case. The reverse fans are so that the fan is the right way up and you don't see the back part of the fan where like the cables stick in. You just see the front part. And what it will look like, it'll look like all of the fans are identical and all orientated the same way. But the fans on the bottom and this fan at the back, they're going to be pushing in cool air. And then the 3 fans on the wall and the 3 fans on the radiator are going to be exhausting heat out the top and the side of the case. So you could do the reverse of this if you wanted. You could get 6 reverse fans and just 4 normal ones. But I prefer this configuration versus the alternative. You can debate me on the merits of everything. Some people like to go the other one because they think that having slight positive pressure means it gets less dusty and stuff inside the case. I say that it's just reducing the airflow. If you're worried about dust, just take your computer out, take the sides off it. If you've got a leaf blower or a hairdryer, give it a quick blowout every 3 months. No problems. No problems at all. We got some RGB streamers. So we got the streamers for the graphics card and the motherboard there. So whole heap of Lian Li goodness. We have an Elgato 4K capture card here going in as well. So that's a nice addition. It's definitely going to be used for streaming. Our motherboard here, so we've got a ROG Crosshair X870E Hero motherboard. It is a solid freaking motherboard, I'll tell you that. We've done one here before. We'll have a look at that when we unbox it. And we got another one of these Thermaltake 1250 watt tough power titanium efficiency power supply. So as you can see here, does it have a sticker from... No, it's just got the 80 plus rating there. But this is a top quality power supply. You couldn't get a better quality power supply than this one right here. So what's this one worth? I think this is about $600 for this power supply. This is not a cheap power supply. This actually has an app where you can turn the PC on and off with your phone via the power supply. So that is pretty bloody cool. Alright, and then the final thing is the case, obviously. So I got a Lian Li D11 Evo. So that'll be quite nice for this. Alright. So what did you have for me, babe?
Alex, it sounds awesome. Thursday will be awesome.
Yeah. It'll be great, man. I wish I could have a rig like this. I mean, I could, but I suck at FPS games, man. I just suck at them. So spending all this money on high-end hardware like this, yeah, doesn't make a great deal of sense. I'm just not that good. I'm better off with GTA, Red Dead Redemption, RTS games, etc. I'm too old, man. My reflexes just aren't that good anymore. They weren't good when I was 21, let alone now. Okay, just a second here. These frickin' boards, these boxes, you get this plastic panel that goes over the top. And I'm just trying to open it up here to show you all of the crap that you get. So what do you get with a $1,100 motherboard? You get the board, and you get your Wi-Fi 7 antenna. Now just be cautious. These Wi-Fi 7 antennas are completely different to the antennas that you'd use on Wi-Fi 4, 5 and 6. There's a completely different connection there. You can't just use any old any old antenna for this. You need to have this special Wi-Fi 7 antenna. And when we have a look at the board, you'll see on the rear I/O that those plugs do look a bit different. So we got a 3-pin clip cable to a normal 4-1 pin there, 5-volt RGB cable. I got a 4-pack of SATA cables. What do we got? Oh, what's this? What do we get here? Oh, nice little ROG USB drive. You can go and chuck a Windows install on that, and then if you ever need to reinstall Windows, you can just pull out that, chuck it in, delete everything, reinstall everything, bang. Whatever freaking malware crap you got, or whatever you think your security's been compromised, just wipe it, reinstall it, easy as. When you buy a PC from me, I put on a bind key, and what that means is if you need to reinstall Windows, your product key is linked to your motherboard. So when you reinstall Windows, you don't have to re-enter your product key. As soon as you go online again, Windows will see that it's that board. They'll be like, oh yep, that board has an active license of Windows. Done. No need to re-enter it or anything. Yeah.
Alex says Red Dead will be the first game being moved in this room.
Oh, I love Red Dead. I was at my parents' this afternoon, and I was talking to them about gaming. I mean, they're in their 80s and stuff, so they're like they've sort of played around with video games in their life and stuff like that, but they don't really keep up with it all these days. And my mum was asking about like violent games, to like, because she's got like nephews and nieces and shit like that, and she's like, oh, they play violent games, I'm worried about them, blah 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 blah. And I was like, nah, honestly, you don't have to worry about it. Like, there's no more of a link between playing violent video games and being an actual violent person than there is to watching violent movies and then being a violent person in real life. I mean, sure, I'm sure there's some people who are like that, but they're naturally aggressive people. They're not your normal person. And I was talking to them. I'm like, look, there are games like GTA, and I'm like, you can just walk up and execute someone in the street, and they in absolute cold blood. I'm like, you can go and start a war with the police. I'm like, you're always going to lose starting a war with the police. I'm like, you can go and start a war with a rival gang and stuff. You can go and do all this stuff. You can have sex with prostitutes and all this. So I'm like, these games are aimed at men, grown men, over 18-year-old men. That's what a lot of this stuff is aimed for, primarily.
To satisfy the intrusive thoughts.
Well, it's... yeah, I guess. Anyway, look, have a look at these things. So we get this weird ROG bottle opener. Now, I find this really, really weird. So have a look at that. I don't know if you can see it properly on the camera. Don't bother zooming in. But see, it's literally a piece of metal with like a hole cut out in it. It's a piece of metal about the size of a credit card with a hole in it, and that's your bottle opener. It's fucking weird. Am I?
Kind of cool.
A piece of metal, like it's not magnetic.
No, I've seen other bottle openers
But
with that.
what are you meant to do with that? Like, at least make it magnetic, and you can stick it on the fridge, and then you got a bottle opener that you can get.
Or the side of your computer.
Side of your computer, maybe. Yeah, for those sneaky Coronas and stuff. Like, anyway, so you get that. What else is here? You get this little cable there, little cheat cable for plugging in the front panel connectors for people who don't like that. And what do we got here? Some little rubber stoppers. Are these for the M2 drives or something? I don't even know. no. Yeah, M2 rubber. Oh, and these are the... Oh, okay, this is a plastic clip that you can use in place of a traditional like bolt in your M2 drives. I'll just go ahead. We'll just go ahead and chuck all this stuff back in the box because Alex is nice and local here in Brisbane, so he'll be getting any of the boxes that he wants with no extra shipping charges. Because yeah, obviously if you're buying a PC from me and I've got to ship it to you, if you want the boxes and stuff like that, you need to pay for an extra consignment for me to ship you a box of boxes. And like I get some people really want the boxes and stuff like that, but yeah, like it is I do kind of laugh a bit when I do it for someone, because I'm like, I'm filling up this box and I'm filling it up with empty boxes and then I'm taping up the box of empty boxes and I take it into the post office and they're like weigh a computer, they're like, oh yep, here we go, 17.5 kilograms, yep, next box, oh it's only 3 kilograms, what's in this? Literally a box of empty boxes. And they just like they screw their face, like what? They're like, customer's always right. Alright, so let's get stuck right into it. So change over to our board view, babe. So this is what we're working with. So have a look at that. Have a look at those ports there on the back there. I don't know if you can see it a bit better there as well. See, they're not the normal sort of screw-in ports for Wi-Fi, and that's what I'm talking about. So let's go through the features here of this board. So on the picture there, you can't really see this, but see at the top there, see in the middle of the heatsink, there's that metal bit that's going under the heatsink. That is actually, I don't know if you can see. See that metal there? Yeah. That is a heat pipe that goes underneath the main heatsink and across the top there, so it distributes heat evenly across these heatsink surfaces. So this is something that you'll see on high-end motherboards like this. It does improve the thermals there and stuff, but realistically for normal people and, like, you know, even the average person who buys this board, it's not something that you'd need. This is the sort of stuff you use for overclocking and all that when you want to run your CPU balls to the walls as hard as possible all the time, and you're willing to sit there and, you know, tune it for freaking days. It's a fun process. But anyway, we'll start up the top there. So we got two 8 pins of CPU power, the nice direct touch heat sinks with the heat pipe there on our MOSFET VRM co-processor heatsink, our AM5 socket there in the middle. We have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fan headers, which is sort of the maximum amount of fan headers that you can put on a board without some sort of auxiliary power. Because these fan headers, right, and the RGB, that all gets powered through the motherboard header there. So there's sort of a limit to how much that socket is capable of sort of supplying, because it's not supplying just the fans, it's supplying everything on the motherboard there. It's different voltages and stuff, that's why there's so many pins. So yeah, you'll struggle to find a board that has more than 8 fan headers. So Got a little post indication LED up the top there. It comes up with a postcode. It can make diagnosing it a little bit easier because it tells you more than just the 4 lights. But it doesn't tell you everything. It's like a scan tool in a car, right? We got a nice little power button and what's that? Restart button. And a flash BIOS button. All 3 in the row there. Got a 5-volt RGB header up there, 2 5-volt RGB headers at the bottom, no 12-volt RGB. Our 24-pin ATX power there. We've got a auxiliary PCIe header there, which is a traditional 8-pin graphics card cable connection basically, and that one there just provides, got a lot of M2 slots here and accessories and shit like that, anything going in to that PCIe system. Sometimes you got two cards in there and shit as well, like we're going to have a capture card and the graphics card in here, so yeah, definitely. We got four SATA ports. We've got a USB-C header there. We've got a USB 3. We've got 2 USB 3s and 2 USB-Cs. So happy days. Our front panel header, our USB 2s at the bottom. Got a temp sensor header, our audio connections there. And then in the middle here we got a total of 4 M2 slots. This one up the top here with the big heat sink, this is our PCIe 5 slot, so this is where we plug in our super high speed SSD. That's why it's got the good heat sink there for it. The other 2 just go below in the regular position. So at these 2 slots here are so the top one's a PCIe X16, the bottom one is just an X8. Okay, so it's bigger than the X4s that you normally see on a board, but it's still not a full-length X16 slot. So don't go trying to stick your graphics card in the bottom slot thinking that it looks cool and you're trying to be different or something like that, because that slot has half the bandwidth of that top slot, so just be aware. And then around the back here, so like I had a quick look at the rear I/O there before, but it's really stacked. It's got 4 USB-C ports, plus another 6 USB type A ports. They're all USB. The type A's are all USB 10 gigabit, and then you've got two ones that are you got 2 USB-Cs that are 40 gigabit and then 2 that are just 10 gigabit. You've got 5 gigabit LAN and 2.5 gigabit LAN. You've got SPI-Diff, and you got your Wi-Fi 7 there as well. You've also got a flash BIOS and clear CMOS button there on the back. Alrighty. So I'll take that sticky off the back there. Okay, so let's get stuck right into putting this bad boy together. So start with our CPU. Hey, at least you can buy Ryzen 7 9800X 3Ds right now. They were hard. They were the last hard to get thing, like towards the end of last year and whatnot. So just make sure your CPU is definitely in place before you start putting pressure down on it. I've seen some things from people who are a bit keen to build their first PC, and they make a mistake. I shouldn't laugh, but I do. Okay. Alright, so let's start with our PCIe 5 drive here. our Crucial T700. So you can buy this drive with a heatsink. Because we're putting it on the ROG crosshair board here, it has this PCIe 5 heatsink. Look at this solid ass heatsink for an SSD. So we don't need any extra heatsinks. If it came with one, I'd have to remove it. There is a little thermal pad here below. So remove the sticky for it. Yeah, I can still get a screw in there. I'd rather just put an actual screw in it just to be safe. All right. Oh. Wrong way, hey? Oh, it doesn't like that screw being in there. There we go. Okay. Had a screw hole, but the heatsink doesn't go down without with the screw being screwed in. Okay, interesting. Alright, now I have to remove this big panel down here to get to our another two M2 slots under here. Oh, the whole thing comes off. Alright. I like undid those two bolts. I'm like, huh? How come this isn't just lifting off? Okay. So we got 4 drives and 2 of them have heat sinks on both sides. So we'll use both of them because our drives are Gen 4. So with a Gen 3 drive, which are perfectly fine, there's no massive performance increase in terms of like your game loading times and stuff between Gen 3, Gen 4 and Gen 5. So if you can only afford a slower one, don't feel like you're freaking just running an absolute piece of shit or something like that. It's perfectly fine. And so yeah, the thing is we got 2 Gen 4 drives and 1 Gen 5 drive. So if we were to transfer data between these drives, right, the maximum transfer speed between these drives, even the Gen 5 drive, will still be that Gen 4 speed, because unless we got 3 Gen 5 drives, then the transfer speed will be the same as the maximum for the slowest drive that's in there. The advantage of having the Gen 5 drive, especially for Windows, is you're getting Windows to boot as quick as possible with that Gen 5 drive. If you install some of your most played games on the Gen 5 drive, you'll find slightly faster load times than Gen 4. So depending on what you're loading and what the average load time is, if it takes like 30 seconds to load a level with a Gen 3 drive, then you can expect it to take about 27 seconds with a Gen 4 drive and maybe 25 seconds with a Gen 5 drive. That's kind of how it scales. It's not like oh yep, the Gen 5 drive, yep, it just loads games like instantly, and those silly Gen 3 drives take like 30 seconds. No, it's not like that at all. The difference between them is much slower. Okay, so here's our RAM. Like I said, I really like these dims. So go up to the camera here and see if you can see it properly. They kind of just look really normal, but if you feel them, they've got some weight to them. This is a nice heatsink that's on them. Nice metal coating there. Crass RGB, Crass V RGB. Very nice RAM. This kit was about $190 for this kit. 32 gigabyte and 6000 megahertz CL30. So if you see it and you think, oh, that's some weird Chinese brand or something like that, it's not good quality or something. No, the opposite. It's really nice. You'll like it. I'm not just saying it. I don't receive sponsorships or anything like that from any brands or anything like that. Okay, so there's our CPU, our RAM, and our SSDs. So let's get stuck into the cooler and fans. I'm just like, alright, which mounting kit does this cooler require? And it will be one of these bad boys that I've got here. And so yeah, in terms of the performance of the cooler here, the pump and stuff like that, it'll be on par with the Lian Li Hydro Shift there. So you won't have any sort of like performance issue with the system, but obviously the main thing is that oh, I'm missing a bolt. Oh no. Oh, good. Sorry about that. Just make sure that's definitely the right. Yep. Yep, perfect. So no pre-applied thermal compound, so we need to apply our thermal paste. Now just remember, these tubes typically have between 2 and 3 applications, depending on how much is actually in the tube, but it's normally always at least 2 applications. So if you get your thermal paste tube that you get with your cooler and you think, oh, I've got to dump the whole thing on there, sort of thing, no, you don't have to do that. Awesome. Awesome, that's all hooked up there. Okay, fan time. So the radiator will be mounted up top here, just like that. And we'll start with this packet. So I've never used these freaking wireless LCD fans because they're pretty expensive, and for most people who get a PC, they don't spend quite this much on the PC, so it doesn't make sense within their budget to spend the extra money on these unless they really want them. So, but with Alex's budget, he had a high budget. He was wanting a, you know, best of everything kind of rig. So there was definitely budget for fans like this. So alrighty, check out that digital screens. Be interesting to see what we can do with these. Can we load up little GIFs on each fan, like individual GIFs? That'd be cool, right? Little slideshow going on. Alrighty, and so these are Lian Li Uni fans, so they just, get it around the right way. They just slot together like that, makes it pretty easy. Okay, so on this end here we have an addressable header here, or we've got the USB 2. So I'm assuming We'll plug them both in just to be sure, but I'm assuming you probably technically only need one or the other, because usually with Lian Li fans it's all controlled through the L Connect app. Yep, that's on. Which way will it be? Should we go up top there? Nah, this way. So these fans have little rubber things that hide the actual fan bolts. How's that for freaking fancy? It's also kind of a pain in the ass because I've got to go pull out all these rubber pieces to put the fans in. Sorry, to put the bolts in. Now I've got to put them all back. Oh no, I've got to take them off both sides. Oh, is there an easier way of doing this? Is it easier with a screwdriver? Yeah, it is. Yeah. Hey Mad Warrior, how you going, man? Haven't seen you for a while, but I haven't been live for a while.
It's interesting to see them wireless fans.
Yeah, definitely.
I really hope that you can put individual gifts on them.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. Like I said, I haven't played around with these personally. I've seen them, but I haven't watched like a full deep dive into them or anything. Are these thick thread pitches? I think they might be. Yeah. Yep, that'll do it. Out of these long screws that I'm screwing into the radiator, there are some that are thin thread pitch and some that are a thicker thread pitch. So if you're used to PC parts, you'll know that there are bolts that have different thread pitches that are for different things. And so that's the issue. So I was screwing in some of the thin ones and it was the thick ones instead. Problem is I'm running out of thick ones in my bolt tray. What do we got down here? Sorry, I got a magnetic bowl that's full of bolts. I use it to clean up stuff on the ground because it's got a strong neodymium magnet in it. Okay, so now we put these little rubber things over the bolts so that you don't see an ugly bolt. Seeing stuff like the bolts used to be the cool thing about PCs. It's a different world these days. Do you know some stuff I've heard from America? Between these 7 big companies with shitloads of brick and mortar stores, only 7 companies, between them all, they're shutting down 15,000 stores this year. And like, they're not going out of business. They're just going to be online only now. That's the way it's all going. That's why Tim's PC doesn't have a shop like a brick and mortar shop. It's all just done online. And that will be, nothing's going to change with that. That's the way it's going to be. I just heard a song in my head then. I'm not going to sing it.
Please.
Okay, so that's it. So, like I said, I'm really keen to check out these fans. I hope that we can put individual GIFs on each of them because that would be cool. All right, so case time. Oh damn, that's freaking on there. Damn. When you think of the thumb bolts, you think, oh yeah, these will be like kind of easy to unscrew. No, the opposite. Okay. So that's the back there. So lots of room for everything. It all tucks away nice and neatly behind that panel there. You've got plenty of room for all of your freaking cables and shit that you use for something like this. And so you've got room to mount SSDs and hard drives and stuff like that around the back here if you want any of that. But yeah, the rest of it's pretty straightforward. USB 3, USB-C front panel, some RGB there on the front of the case as well, I think. So the front panel, the glass panel just sort of pops off there. It's got some clips at the back. You don't need a screwdriver for it or anything. And the same for the front one. Yes, it is. Hey Darren, how you going? Good to have you with us. Darren is probably our longest and biggest fan here at Tim's PC. I was saying to Christine tonight, I'm like, if we're ever in the UK, I think we need to go and grab a beer and a meal with Darren. And likewise, if he's ever on the other side of the world, down here in Australia, he's more than welcome to come and visit us. Come out into the bush with us. We're kind of in the bush, but we're still less than an hour from the third biggest city in Australia, so it's not like we're like really out there or anything. Okay, so does this case have yeah, it's got one of these brackets, doesn't it? Yeah.
In regards to the fans, Alex says have to play with them if you want to see what you can do with them.
Yeah, well, we'll have a bit of a play with them tonight when we install it all. Oh, what's happened there? It didn't feel like it slid on properly. Oh, it's just okay. That's just magnetic there. Yeah.
M2 drives make it so much cleaner than cable. Drives.
Yeah.
He says rocking that ER stickers on the turntable.
Yes, nice turntables. Love turntables, man. I used to be a little bit of I used to partake a little bit as well when I was younger. Okay, so we need some reverse fans now. So you don't have to buy the reverse fans, it just makes all the fans look like they're orientated the same. It's purely aesthetics. It's not functional, because if you want to reverse a fan, you just put it on back to front, then it blows the other way. It's the same thing. When they say it's a reverse fan, it's literally just the shape of the blades. Alright. So yeah, same deal as the other ones. They just kind of slot together like that. It does make it a bit easier, but it's definitely not essential. I mean, I would say that I'm a person who builds PCs, right? Like, of course it's simple enough for me. Okay. So that'll get mounted that way. Yeah, that'll be fine. Alright, so then start making such a mess with when you're opening multiple fans like this, you end up with shit everywhere. What was this? Is this the controller? Okay. Oh. Ah, okay, okay. I'm with you. So they're calling them wireless fans because it does actually go through this independent Wi-Fi receiver that's obviously going to get plugged in at the back somewhere. So the USB controller that I've got, it's actually a 6-port one, but 3 of them are Type A's. So this little dongle here, we could potentially plug this into this at the back of the case without having something at the back there. So, all right, we'll give that a go. So I guess that means that there's none of the normal controller isn't included for these. It's just through this wireless controller. Okay, interesting. Like I said, I've never done the LCD screen, these wireless ones before, so. All right, so the whole thing is over Wi-Fi. That's kind of interesting. I'm gonna have all these little rubber fucking, I don't even know what you call them. Little rubber blanking panels, I guess. I don't know. Instinctually I want to call them stoppers, but I don't think that's quite right because that sort of implies they're like door stops or some shit. Yeah. Yeah, yep. Yeah, it's fine, man. Yeah, see, people don't really, a lot of people don't know this, but like when you buy a PC, if everything goes good and you don't have any issues with warranty or parts failing and stuff like that, your PC should keep up with you for 5 to 8 years when you buy one. So you got a Z390 set up there with that would be a an Intel 9th gen, so like a 9700K or 9900K, I should say. Be one of those at least in that generation. And you probably got either a 16 or 20 series card. Maybe you upgraded to a 30 series card. That would be about where you're at. But yeah, it's fine, man. It's fine. We're still just rocking 3060s here, me and Christine. Like we don't have anything crazy. But the thing with PCs is it's kind of like cars. So you can keep your PC for 8 years, or 5 to 8 years, but if you're keen on keeping up to date, it's best not to hold on to your PC for that long, because by the time it's 5 to 8 years old, yeah, most of the value of it's kind of deteriorated by that stage. Oh. So yeah, like I say to people, it's kind of like if you're into cars and stuff like that, you'll typically get a new car every 3 to 5 years, because if you wait longer than that, you lose too much value from the first car that you buy, and you lose too much money that way. There's like a sweet spot in terms of the time to sell, and typically with a car it's a couple of years. That one's too short. Yeah.
Yeah, 9700K with Gen 4 SSD, 3060.
Yep.
3200.
Oh man, if you've got Gen 4, I don't think that chipset runs Gen 4. Like it'll run, it'll work, but it won't run at Gen 4 speeds, I don't think. I'm pretty sure 300 series boards only have PCIe 3. But that's my point. I've said it before. I'm like, there's not a big deal of difference. It's likely that you didn't even realize that anything was amiss. And that's the thing. Like, it's still a Gen 3 NVMe drive is still a very, very fast, quick loading SSD. Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is, babe, the Z390, the 300 series motherboards there for Intel, they don't have Gen 4. They're only PCIe 3. Intel, I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, Intel only started doing PCIe 4 when the 500 series motherboards came out. Well, yeah, 11th gen, I'm pretty sure. 11th gen Intel. That was the first ones that were frickin' Gen 4, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, nah, it definitely was, man, because I've had problems. I've had problems with customers bring me PCs. They're like, oh, this SSD doesn't work, and the reason is the board only had one slot as Gen 4 and the other one was Gen 3, but you couldn't plug the Gen 4 drive into the Gen 3 slot, and people were unable to use their computers and stuff because they weren't aware of it. So yeah. Okay, that's all good there. So we're going to do a single individual one here at the back. I'm like trying to line up the holes at the back of the case. It's got these freaking rubber things on it. I'm like, huh? I can't see any screws. I'm like, this is a 120mm fan. That's a 120mm fucking slot there. Why is that not working? Oh, it's one of those short ones again. There are like different length fan bolts. Some are like slightly shorter and some are like slightly longer. And this fan requires like at least a medium length one or a long length one, and then these little ones don't frickin' fit properly. I shouldn't bitch, they do a good job at making PC parts relatively generic. I don't just work on like desktop PCs, I also do laptops and stuff as well. And the laptops, oh man, like don't get me wrong, I enjoy fixing them and stuff like that. Bit more of a challenge and whatnot, but man, all the parts are freaking different. I had a guy bring me in an Aorus laptop earlier this year, and it had a fucked battery. The fans and the cooler were fucked, so I needed to get a new cooler and new battery for it. And I couldn't buy the exact fans on their own. I had to buy the whole cooler assembly with the fans, and I had to buy a new battery, and I couldn't get any of it in Australia because it was an Aorus model, so it's like a more specialist, more niche one. It's not like some generic Dell or HP laptop there's like heaps of like spare parts for and stuff. So I had to order it from China. So I order it, and it takes the cooler took 6 weeks to get here. So I've had this dude's laptop just for weeks, and he's like, oh, is anything happening with it? And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, like I can't get the part. It's not like they're just generic parts. I can't just like rock up down to Umart or something like that and buy a new cooler for your laptop. It's just not like that. Every model has slightly different dimension parts because they've got to try and pack it in that small space, right? No. They're in your budget. They go nicely with the case and everything like that. So I'm more than happy to.
In life a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus, it's always good to show off new bits of tech here in the YouTube channel. People always like seeing the latest and greatest stuff. Okay. What's your laptop? 15p. What's the CPU in it? That'll be the main question.
Get a hold of 5090. We will organise put it in at some point.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. It's just so stupid that they go and launch a product and it's just not available. That just annoys the crap out of me, to be honest. Like, yeah, this isn't my only source of income, so I can just not advertise for a while and I'm okay. But it's still really annoying when you know that you should be able to at least buy frickin' graphics cards for people's PCs. We're not in fucking, like, we're not in some frickin', I don't know, we're not in like North Korea or something like that where, like, you can't get stuff. Alright, so these panels here just pop out. You don't actually use these for mounting the fans. But see how I got all these holes there? That means you could mount things like SSDs and stuff to the back of them if you want. So you could make this the sexiest looking server case ever and have a shit like or a NAS case or something like that. Have a shitload of drives packed up the back here. Because these 3 fans on the wall there, they're purely optional. Like they're they're not really needed for the airflow dynamics of this case. They're kind of just there for a bit of like a feature on the wall. Some people put their cool air intake on these fans and stuff like that. That's fine. I've always done the cool air intake on the bottom because I like the idea of nice cool air from outside my case getting blown directly up onto my graphics card, because that means my graphics card will run cooler and all that. As for the rest of it, as long as there's enough airflow through the rest of it, it's fine. The heat gets exhausted out the top of the case, so all the heat from the CPU, when you mount your radiator to the top, the heat just gets exhausted straight out the top of the case. So to me, in my perspective, you can't really go better than cool air in the bottom, warm air out the top. So
Laptop is a 10th gen.
yeah, I think if it's 10th gen, I think it'll just be PCIe 3. Just look your laptop model up on Gigabyte's website and go into like the specs, and it should, if you read down there, it should give you like a it should tell you the PCIe gen. And what you'd be looking for there is you'd be looking for a PCIe 4, not a PCIe 3, obviously. But like I said, dude, it's not a big deal of difference, right? And see, I'll tell you that I'm not just trying to sell people the most expensive crap possible and shit like that. If I think something's not really worth it and stuff, and you're on a budget, I'm always gonna tell you that. I don't like making people think that the tech that they've got is shit when it's not shit. And these days Gen 4 is pretty normal, but I still sell people Gen 3 drives because they are still cheaper, even if it's just $30 cheaper or something like that. It's still cheaper. They run cooler, and they statistically will last longer. Like if you went and documented how 1,000 of these drives went, you'd find a lower failure rate after 5 years with a PCIe 3 drive versus a PCIe 4 drive, just because they're not as powerful, they don't get as hot, etc. Yeah, the big thing is, right, if you so say if you've got an M2 drive and then you have a SATA SSD that's bigger and that's your bulk storage, and you try and transfer info from your NVMe to your SATA drive, doesn't matter how fast the NVMe drive is, it can be a Gen 5 one, if it's transferring files to or from a SATA SSD, then the maximum speed it's going to go at is the SATA SSD speed. So and when it comes to file transfer speeds, that's really the big difference between the drives. Yeah, the load speeds are a little bit faster, but it's only like, Windows boots up a second or two faster, but it's not a huge deal if you don't have the Gen 4 speeds. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I mean, you obviously have no problems with it. You think you thought it was working great until I even mentioned that the board doesn't support Gen 4. But yeah, like I said, don't go looking at the grass is greener on the other side of the fence kind of shit, because you'll go and upgrade your board, and you'll have your Gen 4 SSD running at Gen 4 speeds, and you probably won't notice any difference. Or if it is, it's a very, very small difference, and you'll be like, holy shit, that probably wasn't worth it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like that's the problem with it. They're packaged in such tight spaces that you kind of you kind of like locked in to whatever hardware and whatever stuff they give you originally. They've tried to make laptops that are modular and stuff like that, and they've never been a big success. They end up being really chunky. Really? There we go. Bloody thing. The fan was just slightly out of alignment, and it wouldn't let me fit the motherboard in, so I just had to loosen the bolts and kind of pull it up by about 1 millimeter or 0.5 millimeter or something, and then it was fine. Alright, what thread pitch does this case take? I'm pretty sure Lian Li's all fine thread pitch for their motherboard bolts. Yes, they are. So if you're assembling a PC and you go to screw in your motherboard bolts and you find that after about 1 rotation of the screwdriver it gets really hard to screw it in, that's where you stop. You immediately stop, because if you force that thick thread pitch screw into that small thread pitch offset there, it's going to get jammed. And then your board is going to be like stuck to the motherboard, but loosely stuck with this bolt that doesn't tie it down properly. Then you got to pull the whole board out. Then you got to get some pliers or a socket wrench tool and a screwdriver, and then you've got to manually like twist it with 2 hands to get that bolt unseized. So, take it from me, I've done it myself occasionally. Not for many years, but when I was younger I've done that before. I have fucked up another time by putting in small thread pitch screws into a large thread pitch board, and pretty embarrassing. I shipped it to the customer and they're like, the bolts are coming out. And I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, the bolts are coming out. And then I was like, oh. I'm like, alright, see in the back of your case there's this cardboard box, it's full of bolts. Alright, I want you to take that out. And the thing to worry about with that, when you're putting the smaller screw in the bigger offset like that. What's going on here? Sometimes you can screw it in, but and because the board's stuck to it, it kind of like holds the screw in place, so you don't notice that there's anything amiss. But what I say to people is, once you start feeling that screw is all the way down, make sure that there's like a small amount of resistance that you feel. It's not sort of just spinning there in the socket, because yeah, you'll have a bad time. Alright, how are we going for size here? We should be fine. Yeah, they didn't give us any screws for that, so I'll just go ahead and use some of my spare ones. Have a looking over there, that's cool, isn't it? Yeah. Alrighty, so I'm just going to put 2 bolts in the top there for now, just in case I have to move anything out of the way. I don't think I'm going to have to, but better be safe than sorry. Okay, well, I mean, that doesn't look too bad so far, right? Just these cables here, 3 groups of fans, plus the one at the back. Okay, so where did I put, here it is, our hub. So this is going to be an important little piece for this build. And so a good thing about this Thermaltake one is it's magnetic. Alrighty, so it's got a little 5-volt DC plug in there. It's SATA male there. And then we just have a USB micro B, I think it's called. The old phone charger cable for Samsung before they switched over to USB 3. Okay, so let's start getting a bit of this stuff out of the way. Front panel audio here. Yep, so front panel audio down the bottom there. Okay, USB 3 and USB-C. So, how are they going to look the best? Probably on the side here. There's not much room down the bottom. At least it's got a horizontally orientated USB 3 port there. I like that. Front panel. that's just a DC splitter there. I want yeah.
Since it's been a minute since I caught one of your live kids and from Outback Queensland Aramac. He's flooded in at the moment.
Oh no. Oh damn, man. Where was it? Where is he?
Aramac.
Aramac. Don't know where that is off the top of my head.
Around Longreach.
Oh, near Longreach. Oh shit. Yeah. Yep.
Heavy falls out there recently.
Frickin' oath. It's too hard to get that in down there. It'll be fine up here. Once we plug the power cable in, it'll be fairly neat anyway. Stay over there out of my way just for now, alright, please? Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, makes life a bit easier. Gonna have to freaking pull this group of fans out just for a second to plug in one cable because I just can't fucking. fan can slide up slightly. Okay. Oh, you know what that means? It's power supply time. So normally you sort of put the power supply in the case like relatively quickly, but because of where the power supply is in a Lian Li case, you do it towards the end of the build, like once you've got everything else hooked up. Okay. Alrighty, get your nice thermal take bag there, and this is how your power supply is packaged. This is what a $600 power supply looks like. So as you can see here, you can download an app and you can connect to your power supply, and you can turn your PC off with an app on your phone. So that's pretty cool. It says turn off, but I'm pretty sure it turns it on as well. Just like had some confusion with that another time. Alright. And then it's also in this little material bag there as well. Just, you know, so it doesn't get scratched. Okay, so there it is. Look at that. USB connection there, so you can control the RGB in it. Not that you're going to see it because of this case. But yes, plenty of outputs there. The main thing is over the back here, it doesn't take a standard power cable. It takes this high wattage, high voltage cable. I said all that wrong. It's not wattage, it's the high amperage that this thing will be able to fucking have flowing through it. Though with this setup and just with a single 5090 and a 9800X3D, you're never going to go near using all of that power there from this power supply. Just putting it out there. But that's sort of what you want. You don't want your power supply to be like loaded up with juice. Okay. Alrighty, so you get sleeved cables with this, so black sleeved cables. especially with these sleeved cables, if you want to make them look really neat, it's good to kind of like sort of pre-bend them and get them all, like get all the individual cables lined up, especially for these power supply ones. So 24 pins on one end that goes in the motherboard, and 10 and 20 pins into the power supply like that. And then we need 2 CPU, 1 PCIe and 1 SATA, and the rest are spares. Yep, so 1 PCIe. That's just for the auxiliary. CPU, we need two of the CPUs. No Molex. And we need our 12 plus 4 pin cable. Everyone kind of has a different freaking name for these cables. Some people call them PCIe 5 cables, some call them ATX3 cables, some call them 16 pin cables, but the technical specs say 12 plus 4 pin, just because there's 12 pins at the bottom and then there's 4 pins like up orientated differently on the top of the connection there, so it's 12 plus 4, so that makes sense to me. But technically, yes, it is a PCIe cable, and yes, technically it does have 16 pins, so just for reference. Okay, so this other one, oh yeah, it is CPU. I was like, it should be CPU. I didn't see any writing on it, but yeah, it's there. I'm just blind. Okay, so that little bag there, that'll get filled up with goodies for you. Okay. So when you mount your power supply, make sure that the fan is facing towards the outer panel there. It's getting caught there. Squash my finger then. Okay. So like I say to people all the time about cable management and stuff like that, it doesn't have to look freaking perfect around the back. What you want is organized. You just want it to be organized, basically. And so one of the big things that you would have heard the old saying, don't get your wires crossed. Well, that is a literal saying in the PC and electronics world. Getting your wires crossed like that, that works out really, really well. Yeah, no. Okay, so we need an auxiliary PCIe cable to come out here. Where are we? Okay, so see here we've got a few different cables there. So what we want to do is we want to sort of like get them lined up nice and neat like that. And then we want to chuck a cable tie around the back there just to hold that in place, because we don't want to be looking at a freaking cable that's pissing us off when this is done. Oh shit, it's not going to work. Get out of there, you bastard. Yeah, that's fine. Yep. Cool, cool. CPU cables. So we just got a straight 2 8-pins up the top. That's fairly straightforward. Once again, so once we plug these in, we want to try to like hide these little fan cables as much as possible. that's good. Sweet as. Yep, sweet as, that looks nice. Oh, hang on, I just realised we've got fucking streamers for the motherboard, don't we? Oh, fuck, spent all that time. Yeah. Ugh. Why? That's my only question. Because retro. Sleeper. Yeah. Okay. So let's see if we can hook this up without a freaking USB. They give you the cable for it. Okay, and that's basically what it looks like at the back. There's a whole heap of cables at the back there bunched up, but like I said, it's plenty of room for it all. The problem is when you try and plug this many fans and this much sort of crap into a smaller case, out the back can be very, very difficult to wire in, because you've got to make use of like a lot of different space, whereas they give you heaps of room back here to do it. I've only used 2 cable ties back here. That's it. So, and that's good, because when you want to do upgrades or you need to repair it, you don't have to sit there and cut all these cable ties out. I don't like it, not because I'm lazy or something like that. I don't like it because I don't have surgeon hands, right? So, you know, my hands are, you know, I don't have really, really good dexterity with my fingers and stuff like that. So I feel like kind of dodgy trying to cut them all out, because I might like slice a cable or something like that. So I try to minimize that sort of stuff out the back, just in terms of harm minimization, I guess you could call it.
Alex has got to have all the RGB with its performance.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Oh yeah, we have a capture card as well. This is a straight plug into the PCIe slot. And what's this? What does it say? What interface it is? Okay, it works on it works on an X4 slot. We've got an X8 slot, so we've got way more than what we need for that. I think the 1080p ones you can just run them on a little X1 slot. So yeah, this is it. Capture card. So if you don't know what a capture card is, capture card allows you to take video in from either a computer or from a camera, like what we're doing right now, and feed it through to another monitor. So it's like you plug in your game there, and then it streams your game, and then the out goes to your monitor so you can play your game. So really, really handy if you want to actually stream. You don't have to fuck around with trying to get software to do it all for you and all that. Oh, what else do they give you in here? Oh, you get an actual nice premium HDMI cable for it. That's pretty nice. I'll just leave that all in the box there for you. Yeah, it can all go together there. Okay, so we're using slot 6. Where's my other screwdriver? Here it is. Slot 6. Oh. Jesus, what's that cord on? Huh? Oh God. The screw in slot 7 was stopping me from taking the panel out of slot 6. Freaking thing. Yeah, I've seen Alex's setup. He's got a desk and some fucking, if I saw right, some OLED monitors and all that. I think they were OLEDs. He can correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, alrighty. So here's a loaner, not that kind of loaner, just a card that I'm loaning to a customer. So got a few random graphics cards. And yes, they come in handy for situations like this. What the fuck is with this? These are all like really hard to take out for some reason. I just don't know why. So if you look online and stuff, you might see stuff about how these 12+4 pin, aka PCIe 5 cables are really bad, and they cause fires and all that. They don't cause fires. They don't inherently cause fires. What happens is people don't plug in the cable all the way, and then that creates a short, and then the fire and the smoke and all that. But yeah, if you plug them in properly, it's no problem. It's just that enthusiasts buy all the latest tech, and they're enthusiasts, so they're really keen to try it out. So they run home and they plug it all in really fast, and the first thing they want to do is load up a game and see how fast their new system is. And then yeah, they make a crucial mistake, not knowing the new technology, not knowing all the little ins and outs about it. But yeah, that should be it. Everything's all hooked up. Yes, CPU, auxiliary PCIe, all the screws are in.
Alex says he got the triple G7 millimeters.
Yep, cool. Yeah, that'll be awesome, man. And yeah, I just feel bad for you that you still haven't got your 5090, but hey, look.
It is what it is.
4080 is going to be fine for the time being anyway. You'll have fun with that. Now I'm actually going to need your power cable here, because it's not a standard power cable. So don't lose this power cable. I'm sure you could get another one, but you know, you're gonna have to go looking for it. You know, if it's a normal PC power cable, a normal one, I can just give you one. I've got a whole freaking drawer full of them. Like, it's no big deal at all. They're only worth like $5 anyway. And yeah, if you're one of my customers, I'll just give you one. So yeah, just so you can see what I'm talking about, that is a normal power cable, and this is the one for the big 1250 watt titanium efficiency unit. Okay, so what do you reckon? Have I done it right? Is it gonna blow up when I turn it on? Oh, I might want to actually plug the frickin' cable into the power board. That's always a good thing. Generally, if you do that, they more often turn on for you. Why is that happening?
Somebody's TV machine.
Yeah, it could be an update coming for it.
It's like still the disco. It's kind of cool, I guess.
I guess.
You want to hope that lights strobing like that don't make you have seizures.
No, it shouldn't. We'll work through it anyway. It's posting? I'm sure it's posting.
It's doing something.
Yeah, it's posting.
It's alive.
Okay.
Fucking hell, it's 11:30.
Mm-hmm. Why is it not detecting my freaking keyboard, man? Let's give that another go.
What'd you do to it?
Nothing, just been playing around with it.
New CPU installed. That's why we said. Alex is a rave.
Yeah, I know, right? Look at this.
There's some smoke machines going on now. DJ Brisk going on.
Yeah, but if you've watched a bit of PC builds and you're familiar with like some of the hardware and shit, you'll know that it's pretty common for the Lian Li peripherals to not work.
It stopped strobing for a second.
Oh, did it?
And then it kept strobing.
That's so weird. That's all right. We'll have a play around with it all.
At least the streamers are lit up now.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah, I know. I plugged them in. I've been playing around with the connections back here, see if there's something loose, and yeah, I plugged the
It's not going any further than this screen though, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, I know, I know. It's like my keyboard doesn't work.
Keyboard's lit up.
I know.
Sometimes that keyboard does fuck up though.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare, but I've seen it not work until the BIOS update. There it goes, it's doing something now.
It's fucking really weird. It's doing some really weird shit, eh?
I think it might be going in the BIOS. Bailey, what are you doing? Leave the fucking cat alone.
Okay, so now we're in BIOS, and my mouse doesn't work.
Can you use the keyboard to like scroll through stuff? Not really.
Oh.
It is, but it's slow. Oh,
What?
lost the signal.
Something's, it's not liking, I don't think it's liking all the USB devices.
Yeah.
I think it's getting, like, confused. No, it's still not frickin' working, is it? Yeah. But then it's responding perfectly to the power on, power off. Let's try one dim at a time. Okay, keyboard number 3. Let's give this a go.
Here we go.
No keyboard detected. Look at that. Well, there is now. It's like, what's gonna go wrong? What's gonna go wrong?
There's always something wrong with this new hardware being used.
Yeah, I know. It's good fun. No.
No, let's do something. There you go. Now it's in glass.
It's not responding.
Is the mouse working?
Well, I'm actually unplugged the mouse just then. No. Oh,
Yes.
there it goes. But look at this.
It's really laggy.
Yeah. Fuck,
Why
man.
is it doing that?
That's so weird. Alright, open to suggestions. Who wants to hazard a guess as to what's going on here?
Maybe you should have done a BIOS update on the motherboard before you did anything.
But this was the first time I turned it on. I've unplugged all the USB devices. Except for that one fan that's not flashing. I'm gonna unplug every single USB device. Including USB-C, USB 3, okay, it's freaking like everything unplugged. So issues like what we're seeing here are normally like something to do with USB or something that's connected to it. But we could just have a straight up problem with the motherboard. It's happened before. Yep. Oh. I didn't have the frickin' cable plugged in, the video cable. Yep.
Oh yeah, Alex loves the drift of rave parties. Alex is glad. I'm really glad you're building it now. I would have cracked it by now.
Oh yeah. Nah, it's all good, man. I'm used to this shit.
Hey,
Look at that.
Hey.
Now we're cooking, aren't we? Look at that. See, like I said, it was having a cry about all the USB devices plugged into it. Where? Do you wanna? There should be a BIOS on there. I can't remember which is which. The one that like doesn't have anything on there that looks Windowsy.
That's got a lot of stuff on it.
Hang on, no, that'll be the BIOSes, won't it?
Huh? And
No, you've got my SSD plugged in. Unplug that. Chuck us that. I need that.
This is. It's got nothing on it. What do you want?
Yeah, in downloads.
Oh,
Downloads. Yep. ROG crosshair. The BIOS number there.
1203.
Yeah, that's the one. And then yeah, we'll update the BIOS, and hopefully that fixes some stability issues. But then we'll leave everything unplugged. We'll go and install all our software and our drivers and everything. We'll get the Lian Li software going on. We'll try and sort all that out, and then we'll plug in additional USB devices as needed, and we'll get it all working. Because a board like this for enthusiasts, it's got to work for stuff like this as well. Like they have to make sure that it's stable for builds like this. What's going on with that transfer?
I don't know. It's really fucking slow. Just leave it.
That's just click on it. Try again. Place file and destination. Yep. Okay. What's that? Try again. Just make sure it's definitely in there. Yeah, sweet. Okay. Alright, so we're going to update our BIOS now. 1203. Yeah, I know. You get up me and you're like, Tim, she wants you to pat her.
Yeah, she's got feelings, Tim.
Do you have feelings?
Yeah.
You silly dog. You have feelings. You're not meant to have feelings. You're a dog. Oh, BIOS update failed. I know. This makes me very nervous when there's issues with BIOS updates. Okay, let's try this again. I think there may have been something wrong copying that file over. Remember how you were having problems with it?
Is this something with USB?
Cancel. That worked. So if you don't know that, so if there's a problem when you're updating a BIOS, you can potentially, the phrase we use in the PC world is you brick your motherboard. And what that means is you will turn your motherboard into a very expensive brick if you fail to do the BIOS update.
So much weird shit going on with this fucking motherboard.
I know, it makes me nervous. Don't worry, that was normal. What happened then? That restart. Jam, it's fucking late. You can all blame Christine.
Oh,
Yeah, everything's working well in there. Pumps pumping well.
pumps.
Well, after it's been on for a few minutes, I like to touch the cables and feel that the cables are heating up, because if it's doing its job, those cables will start to get warm, and you should feel the water sort of flowing through them. If you don't feel that, it just feels cold and like you don't feel any movement through the cables, that's a pretty good indication that your pump's not working. Not 100%, you could have just a very quiet, low-powered pump on there, and that might be all it is. But in general, you want to feel some heat, because if it's doing its job and heat's getting transferred to the liquid and moving up the pipes get warmer. That's just how it works. Top of the radiator, yeah, it's warm all across the top of it, which is exactly what we want. And so yeah, when I do BIOS updates here, we have a UPS, an uninterrupted power supply. And what that means is if we got a blackout that would potentially fuck with a BIOS update and brick a motherboard, it's like a battery. So if the power goes off, the battery comes on, and it'll allow us to at least get the BIOS update done, and probably a few other things. But it doesn't last forever, obviously, it's a battery. So, but gets you out of the woods. People use them for their servers and NAS and stuff like that, so they don't go offline during like temporary loss of power, because it's a pain in the ass to set them up again. Small dog. You're very small. She likes getting the back of her head scratched. That's the dog. I'm scratching the back of her head and she's liking it. Small dog. This is the small dog. It's not really that small.
Really? Why?
She's what I call a small dog because her father is a bull mastiff, a big massive dog, and she's actually the smallest of the litter, and she doesn't look anything like a bull mastiff. Her mum is an American Staffordshire Terrier, and that's what she looks like. So her blood brother looks completely different, looks like a completely different dog, but they're brother and sister. Mm-hmm. Same parents. So that's why she's a small dog. You're the smallest of the litter. The small dog. You're the shiny as well. You're like a shiny Pokemon. You're the only one. You're like the light and shiny dog that came out. Yeah. Yeah.
Alex says the restore makes everything nervous. The good old BIOS update.
Mm-hmm.
Almost midnight, Tim. Good effort.
I know, right? No, I didn't start. I didn't start till 9, so it's not really too bad.
Jeez. Alex says I use UPS systems for a lot of NDIS automatic doors for bathrooms.
Yep. Yeah, I mean that's a perfect application for them right there. For any kind of electronics that the power can't cut out for emergencies and whatever. The problem is no battery stores enough energy forever. And so we're in a rural area where we are, and we don't really run the risk of flooding or anything like that. But
We turn into an island.
yeah, we become an island, so we end up getting cut off from everything.
Now.
Oh, look at that! Even the BIOS looks different after the update. The font's changed. Look at that. So we should just be able to exit. Oh, you and the dog. I was watching what you were doing. Cat's freaking out.
He's looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing, Mom? The
dog just wants to smell you. You run away, they get so excited. Don't do that. No, don't bite. No.
Alright, sorry about that. Our wireless mics just died. We've been live for fucking 3 hours or something now. It doesn't feel like that long. They only last about 3 hours. That's why I got 2 of them. Yeah, we definitely got sound back now. Okay. Look, honestly, Asus, I think I've got everything I need already. I don't think I need your help with anything. Okay. basic software installed here now. Download L-Connect. So many USB problems with this. So I put down these custom desktop icons. It's just what I do to keep the desktop nice and tidy. You install applications and games and stuff, and they make shortcuts on your desktop, so I just make a folder for applications and games. You can put a downloads folder and a my documents folder down and stuff if you want as well, but yeah, like I said, I find it's just fine with these two. You can click on this folder here to bring up the Windows Explorer thing there, and you can get into everything from there anyway. Alright, we'll restart. Oh jeez. Scared to plug. You can, man, just send me a message. Happy to help. Okay. Really? Oh, there it goes. I was like, are you serious? We do not have internet. I'm like, I freaking installed all the drivers. So
boost with the motherboard, light is green, but when I push F1, nothing happens. Does it go into setup? What could be the reasons?
Oh well, I mean that's pretty much what was happening to us before. I was stuck. I tried multiple keyboards, and it was USB devices playing up. No, we're not getting any action from any of those lights, are we? Well, let's keep going. I might have to do some freaking troubleshooting on these fans, and then if they're not, if I can't get them to work, then we might have freaking faulty fans. But the thing that gets me is that 2 of them were from 3 packs, and then these 3 at the bottom are individual. It's like when they're linked together into a group of 3, there's a problem. But then this one at the back isn't communicating with the software either. So it's definitely a little bit strange. Yeah.
There's a really cool looking case and fans. I'll have to go back and watch the stream. And thank you. He says, yeah, I would be nervous that the wireless in the first place title says wireless. Is that correct? I'm guessing RGB, but it's wireless.
So these fans have LCD screens in the middle of them. So you should be able to like load up a picture.
Fans.
Yeah. Well, they're not wireless, that's the thing.
Didn't you say they're wireless?
Yeah, but they have wires as well.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit misleading then.
Mm-hmm. very much so. Yeah, we've had all sorts of freaking issues with this. Okay. Well, look. Trying one more thing with these fans and stuff tonight. If not, I'm going to have to continue the troubleshooting on them tomorrow. And see, look, now it's not even, now they're not showing up at all. Alright.
3.5 hours.
Yeah, I know, we're gonna wrap this up quickly. Yeah, I'm gonna have to consult the frickin' Reddit forums on this one, I think. But I don't know. I sort of want to do some more extensive testings on this one, even if, you know, we get the fans working and stuff. I'm still a little bit frickin' sketchy on it all. I don't like what I've seen tonight. One thing you don't want to do is give a PC over to a customer when there's little technical issues like this. Because if you do, they're just going to come back to you, and you're gonna have to fix it one way or the other. So. But yes, if something goes wrong, it's much easier for me to get a warranty or a replacement on it than it is for the average person to go and do it. We all know that big companies try and screw you when they get the opportunity to do that. Okay. Oh, MSI Afterburner didn't install properly. Yeah.
So it's much better to be honest and explain the situation. Also says sometimes it's best to sleep.
Yeah, definitely.
Alex says that's what we appreciate with the build quality of your PCs.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, it's always the trouble with buying tech like this. There can definitely be issues. I had a customer come to me, and I don't think he was trying to be rude or anything like that. He had a warranty issue, and it was like, I don't know, it was just before his warranty period, and he's like, oh, I didn't think a custom PC would break down that fast. And I'm just like, oh dude, like everything has a non-zero failure rate, right? Like I always bring up the story. I don't know if George has been here tonight, but George down in Melbourne, I shipped him a frickin' yeah, it was like a 10 grand PC. It had a, top of the line power supply in it and stuff. Anyway, 3 days after he got it, the power supply died. Took it down to my friends at Radium PC at Yarraville in Melbourne, and yeah, they tested it, like, bro, dead power supply. I'm just like, what the fuck, man? Are you serious? Like, honestly. But yeah, it happens. It happens. But the average person, like I said earlier, can expect their PC to last between 5 to 8 years, unless they need an upgrade sooner. Ha. Oh, it's not a, it's actually not a 4080, it's a 4080 Super, which is freaking awesome. .4080 Super's just a fraction under a 5080 in terms of its performance. So, I mean, like, you're nearly there, sort of thing. Your goal's the 5090, but 4080 Super is, yeah, it's just a fraction below a 5080 in terms of its performance. So, okay. Well, look, I'm not going to stress test it now, but I'll go and run the benchmarks on it so everyone can just see how a 4080 Super and a 9800X 3D run together. So we do heaven here, high, no anti-aliasing, and I'll just make sure the volume's turned down for copyright. Yeah.
Chris, when you look at the complexity of things, it's honestly amazing that they work as much as they do.
Yeah, 100%. I have respect for, you know, the engineers that come up with things like this, you know, fans with frickin' screens in the middle of them. Like, come on. Who thinks of this shit? It's one thing to think of it and then go and build it.
Oh God.
That's why they earn the big bucks, right? Mm-hmm. Mud is fun. It's instinctual. Get covered in the mud so then you can like ambush prey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they it's like Lucy, remember Lucy?
Oh, stupid dog.
She'd do the same thing. She'd just like get into the dam and get all dirty and stuff like that, and she'd be loving it. So I mean, in terms of how it's running, she's purring. Like, no issues there while we're running it. It's looking really, really good. It's just anything freaking USB related. Okay. My spare keyboards for emergencies. I mean, the fun and game's not over because this memory worked, no problems. Posted, did a BIOS update with it. And then try and restart it to boot Windows, and the RAM wouldn't work. And so I'm using a spare stick of DDR5. Only 8 gigabytes of RAM is in this thing right now. Is it 8 or is it 16? I think that DIMM might be 16. I don't think I've even seen it below 450 frames per second. .4080 Super normally cracks 800. Yeah, there it goes. 840, I think I saw it. There's another spike at the end here. So I mean, that's pretty good. That ran like a dream. How big is that, Dim? It is only 8 gigabytes. We got 8 gigabytes of RAM. Gigabyte of RAM should do it. If you want to have a laugh, just type into Google, a gigabyte of RAM should do it, and there should be an old movie from like the 90s that comes up with a bit of a quote from a movie. It's kind of funny. It's like written by people who don't really know what tech is and don't really understand tech. It's freaking hilarious. Alright, so a Valley Ultra max anti-aliasing there. Should do. Scroll down. Yeah, videos. There he is on the left. That one there. Yeah, gigabyte of RAM should do the trick. That's the quote. Gigabyte of RAM should do the trick. Yeah, share it. The dude's basically trying to hack something, and whoever wrote the script obviously heard RAM, and they're like, oh yeah, like RAM, like, you know, smash through something, and they're like, oh, RAM's obviously what you use to hack. And so this dude's trying to hack into something, and he's just like, oh yeah, I can break into this. Yeah, about a gigabyte of RAM should do the trick. Fucking hilarious. You sharing it?
Oh, I already did.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, check it out. Christine just shared it in the live chat. Fucking hilarious. I remember the first time I saw it, I pissed myself. You don't know what RAM is. Tell me you don't know what RAM is without telling me you don't know what RAM is. If you don't know, RAM is random access memory. It's super high speed memory that's paired with your CPU. Its purpose is to store temporary information that can be accessed really fast by the CPU. And what does that mean? So when you say something's loading, whether it's a website that's loading, or you've turned on your computer and Windows is loading, or you've opened up an app or a game and the app or the game is loading, when it's loading, it's going from either the internet or your hard drive or SSD, and it's going into the RAM. Once the program is open, everything it needs is loaded into RAM. Once it's in RAM, the CPU can access it essentially instantly. That's why, you know, when a program's loading, it'll be like slow and unresponsive, and then once it loads, it's like bang, now it's just everything opens up. I click on it and opens up straight away. It's loaded, and that means it's loaded into the RAM, because once it's in RAM, like I said, that CPU can like access the RAM like super fast, way faster than any SSD or anything like that you try to plug in. Even the fastest Gen 5 SSD, no, not as fast as what the CPU can access and read the RAM. But the thing with RAM is it doesn't store information, it's temporary high-speed storage. And so you need more RAM to run more programs and to run bigger programs. But beyond a certain point, there's no point in adding extra RAM. Like if you're looking at it going, oh, you know, maybe I should get 128 gigabytes of RAM for my gaming PC. Maybe that'll be better. No. It really won't be. There's a handful of games that need more than 32 gigabytes, but it's none of the top games that people play. So, you know, it's not your Fortnite, it's not your Call of Duty, it's not your frickin' Assassin's Creed or fucking Sims. Yeah, no, and it's not like it's none of that. Like, none of those games need more than 32 gigabytes, even running at high resolutions and stuff. If you get 64 gigabytes for your gaming PC, that is overkill. That is a flex. That is the maximum that you should even bother spending your money on it. Why would you spend money on that when you can get these awesome fans? Oh shit. Nah, they'll be fucking sweet once we work through the issues with them. And this final one is superposition. This is a 4K benchmark, so this will give you a bit of an idea of how it runs. We could do the 8K one as well, but I mean, yeah, no one really runs 8K these days. The only time you do 8K is if you were doing something and it was on a large TV or something like that. That's what you'd use 8K for. Because when it comes to normal monitors and stuff, 4K is plenty, man, because it's your pixel dimension of the screen. It's not like the actual quality of the pictures on the screen. It's related to the quality, you know, but it's not the be all and end all of quality. So when they say 4K, why is it 4K? Well, the reason why it's 4K is it's 4 1080p monitors together, and they call it 4K. So they call it 2K or 1440p. That's half of it, and that's the same as the same pixel amount as two 1080p monitors. And 8K, you guessed it, it's 8 1080p monitors worth of pixels. So
Alex says the fans are exhausted from all the raving they were doing earlier.
yeah, I know. Yeah, they're coming down. Yeah.
Probably want to go smoke a couple of cones.
Yeah, probably want to go have some cones and some drinks and lie down and wake up a day later and feel even worse, you know. Oh shit. We've never partied or anything. We don't know anything about that stuff, okay? Oh shit. And this video here for superposition, this is, if you're wondering what it is, from my basic knowledge of physics and all that, what this looks like is someone's attempt at building some kind of anti-gravity machine. And that's what seems to be going on in this room. Though all of the technology here is, it looks like tech from back in the 60s. Like, you got this calculator here that's like one of the very first like electronic calculators that existed. You got some trigonometry and calculus equations there on the board, it looks like.
I'm watching a show based in the early 60s, and yeah, this is feeling very...
Yeah, it is. But I mean, that's the era that they were probably fucking around with that kind of tech, trying to you know, put two pieces together and all that. Whereas now we know that that's a long way off, if it's even possible. Okay. Alrighty, well.
Check out this Monaro.
Wow, that's a very nice Monaro. Alright. We'll restart it, but that's probably where we'll leave it for tonight, I think, because I need to have a sleep and get up, and then we'll have another play with this. So I'm sorry, Alex, probably not tomorrow, because I want to make sure it's all good for you. I don't want to hand it off to you and then you have random USB problems or some bullshit. We'll go through it all, make sure it's all working properly for you. I gotta fucking...
Tim, Chris says, imagine the technology so advanced that any explanation of it yields a result.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, we're living in the era of like, we're living in this new like anti-science era. We got like a dude in America who's the Secretary of Health, and he's a full-on anti-vaxxer and chemicals guy. Chemicals is the name I use to describe people who are scared of chemicals. They think that chemicals are bad and are going to give them cancer and stuff like that.
It's got kills in the name, so...
Chemicals. Well, yeah, I call them chemicals because these people are like, they think that things that are natural aren't chemicals, but really everything's a chemical. Like there's some atoms that exist in like a in an elemental form that's not a chemical, but that's very, very rare and under very, very specific circumstances. Even like oxygen, right? It's not called O, it's called O2. Because oxygen doesn't exist as just a random oxygen, or if it does, it doesn't last that way for long. It's gagging to hook up with another oxygen or a hydrogen or something like that. Hydrogen's the same. Hydrogen exists as H2. It doesn't exist as H. If it does exist as H, it won't be H for long. It's gonna freaking hook up with something else. It's gagging for it. They need to be together. If you know physics, so if you know your chemistry, they call these the diatomic molecules. Yeah.
Alex says, no, it's all good. I have the whole week off anyway.
Oh, do you? Oh, lucky you. I had a freaking 2-day state meeting this week.
Ooh.
I'm not staying the night.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm not doing that.
I'm coming home. I know it's a long drive, but
I'll have to work, so
yeah, I'd rather just come home. The good thing is, because of people freaking coming from a million miles away, they're starting the meeting at 10 o'clock, not 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock or something.
That's alright.
That's good. That's really good.
For you.
Well, not really a sleep in, but I don't have to get up at like freaking 6 o'clock in the morning and get on the road at 6:45 to get into the city at 9 with all the traffic.
Tim, Chris says, I believe the only true matter is carbon. Everything else is derivative.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I mean, all of life is carbon based. There's a whole freaking school of chemistry called organic chemistry, and it's all about everything to do with molecules with carbon. But yeah, back to this frickin' anti-vaxxer dude in America. He's the Secretary of Health. He's like rolling back vaccine like regulations and stuff. He's letting like kids with measles just be able to just go back to school and spread the disease around. It's going to be interesting. I hope nothing like that happens in Australia, but there's plenty of freaking anti-vaxxers and chemicals fuckheads here as well. Alright, I think that's where we'll leave it for tonight. It's like 1 AM now. Everyone's getting pretty tired. So yeah, I want to keep going with this one tomorrow because yeah, we'll have to work out what's wrong with those fans. Oh, like I said, I think I'm gonna have to hit the Reddit forums because I'm sure what issue I'm having here has also happened to somebody else as well. Though if not, it could be some sort of weird USB issue with the motherboard. Though I'm gonna assume that it's not, and that it's the hardware, like the peripherals, and not the actual motherboard itself. But yeah, see, it's kind of hard because you plug stuff into the motherboard and then, you know, issues start happening, and it's like, well, is it the motherboard or is it the stuff that I've got plugged into the motherboard, right? Okay, well, thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all in the next video.